Unashamed, the recovery podcast.
And hey guys, welcome back to another episode of the Unashamed Recovery Podcast. And today is actually a very special day. Today is the season finale of season 2.
And it's all coming to an end again.
Man, what a season it's been. And today's episode, we figured we'd do just something a little different. We're just going to do a recap of season 2. Talk about some of our favorite moments of the show or the season, some behind the scene moments, just kind of
some things that pulled at the heartstring a little bit.
We're just going to kind of tone it down a little bit because this season, man, this has been a real.
It's been like a live action.
Yeah, it's been a lot going on this season, and so we just wanted to just take it down a notch and just kind of cool things off before we pick things back up for next season.
So one thing that I want to say is thank you to all the listeners, people who watch our channel, people who've tied in on the group that we've started on Facebook.
Most definitely.
Man, I see so many stories from people on that group alone. That the Unashamed Recovery Podcast group, they bring it. You know, they tell stories, they share some memes and whatnot, but all of it hits home.
Most definitely.
But the number one thing I think Josh wants to mention is.
Yes, our listeners, our fans, our audience, y'all, with your help, you have helped the Unashamed Recovery Podcast get to the top 5% of podcasts worldwide. 5%. Guys, there's over 2 million something podcasts.
Can we give them a round of applause?
Let's give them a round of applause. But with your help and your support and your just continued love, y'all have helped us reach a goal that I never thought was possible. Back 2 years ago when I started this, guys, I grew up as a country farm boy down in southeast Mississippi, and this just blows my mind. So thank you. Thank you, each and every person that's listened to an episode, that's donated to the show, that has liked, followed our social media, has watched our videos, who has shared our stuff. Thank you, thank you, thank you. But beside that, Drew, what would be something from this past season that stands out for you? What is that? When you think back of Unashamed Recovery Season 2, what is that stands out for you?
Oh, man. So there's a lot.
There's
a lot. So I could go down the list, but I'm going to mention, I keep hitting this microphone. That's probably the third time I've done that. I hope nobody's noticed. They probably will.
They're noticing now.
And that's what we're here to do, bring out the Season 2 highlights and bloopers.
Yep.
But so number one thing that stands out to me is the fact that everybody that we've had on this season has had some real digging in type of issues and stories to tell that have, somehow transcended the way that I even think about recovery or even my story in recovery. It's basically given me some strength, some hope. I know when Haley was talking about her story, there were some moments in there where she had talked about how she, going to jail and all that kind of stuff. But, and Lord, those jail pictures. How she's used that as not as that challenge for her became a moment of growth, and look at her now, you know what I'm saying? Stacy's story, I related so well to that because in Stacy's story, I was homeless. I lived in the woods for a while. I ate cold food, I walked up and down the streets, and all that. I could really hit home with some of these stories. Shauna, that was amazing, to hear somebody from not to diss anybody, but somebody that didn't come from the rough side of the tracks, so to speak. Soccer mom type, that gets busted by the DEA agents and all that kind of stuff. I mean,
Yeah.
all that is the realness of it, the realness of this season. See, this is my first time, ever being on a podcast or being a co-host, and I'm thankful for you asking me to do this, which you'll say I begged.
I wasn't going to say nothing.
I knew you were.
I was going to
But
let
were
you have
thinking
your
it-
moment.
You were thinking it, and I felt it. So leave me alone. But just being able to be here, being a part of it, that's a huge thing for me.
Yeah.
And so
Me too.
Yeah.
Me too. I still can't believe that I get to do this. It blows my mind. Like, to see where we started and where we're at today, it blows my mind. And for me personally, man, we've had a lot of great moments this season. Like,
Yeah.
a lot.
Yeah.
But right off the bat, my number one, it would have to be Shauna. Shauna's episode is what really catapulted us to where we are
Yeah, it did.
today.
It did.
And I think a lot of people connected with her story. Like
Right.
you were saying, it wasn't your typical person, and it really I think it struck with a lot of people. We still get emails today about her episode. And
What's the farthest one we got one from?
So we didn't receive the email, but somebody reached out to Shauna and talked to her, and I believe it was all the way from Lebanon,
That's right. Yeah.
and was talking about how her story had reached them there, and that's insane to me.
Right.
That's just crazy. But I shared it a couple of weeks ago because actually I heard her story. I think her whole story is August the 8th of 2008. I want to say that's correct. And a couple years ago, I actually saw her story on Facebook. And so I posted her story a couple weeks ago on the anniversary and shared about how her story just changed the trajectory of this podcast.
Right.
Because up until her story, we really were doing mostly recovery topics. I think at the time of her episode, we had done maybe one or two different actual somebody's story. But
Right.
for the most part, we had done recovery-related topics. What is recovery? What is denial? Relapse. Talking about change. Just a number of different recovery-related topics. But her story is what really changed us, where we went mostly every episode has been somebody's story. We're trying to do more, but her story was so impactful that we did a lot of change for that.
Yeah.
But going on the opposite side of that, somebody's story that I really, really liked, and it didn't get the attention or the numbers that Shauna's did, but I feel like it resonated with a lot of people, was Dana's story.
Yeah.
Dana's came right after my story of talking about how I dealt with pornography addiction, and she talked about the female
Aspect
of the porn addiction. And man,
Yeah.
at the time, I didn't fully appreciate her episode. We were rushing to get done with her episode to push Haley's episode out, and then we get done with hers, and I think we went to was it Stacy?
Yep.
And so I really didn't take the moment, but Dana's story just, man, I loved her openness and her vulnerability in talking about a topic that's so wrapped in shame. And I feel like a lot of people really resonated with that as well.
But a lot of women don't talk about, the aspect
Yeah.
of their sex addiction or porn addiction. It's always, you hear men talk about it.
Yep.
But sometimes it's more noticeable in men, I guess, or it's more brought to the light with a man.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know how I'm trying to word that.
Well, yeah.
Where it doesn't sound sexist. But I think
Yeah.
you hear more about it from a male view.
Yeah, most definitely.
I think that's what I'm trying to say there.
So, Drew, what would be your least favorite moment of the season?
Okay, so we're going to talk about my blooper of stuttering the first 4 to 5 episodes because I could not get it right. You know, I'd start off, hey, you know. I hated every minute of that because I would just be like, I'd go home and beat myself up about it a little bit. Like, God, why can't I get it right? You know, because I wasn't comfortable in front of a microphone yet. There was not in that kind of setting.
There was many a days where I'd be like, "Yep, I picked the wrong co-host." Oh, but for me, I really didn't think that was that big a deal. For me, one of my least favorite moments of the season, and if you've been watching from the very first episode of this season through now, then you've noticed we have not had a consistent change, consistent set. It has changed from episode to episode. And if you noticed that, you weren't going crazy. We were well aware of it, trust me. And it was something that was not that we – I don't know. It was just we never could find what we liked. We kind of had to go where we were allowed to be at, and we've struggled this season. But you know, hopefully in the future we'll have something more permanent. We can have a nice little set and all that. But that was my top thing that I have not liked about this entire season.
You don't feel like you found home yet, you know?
Yes.
So
most definitely. And another thing that really stood out to me this season was our support.
Yeah, definitely.
You know, we've had more people come out and reach out to the show this year than we had in the past, of people who were saying, hey, your show resonates. Like, I really got something from your show. Like, I found something where I can connect with. Like, that may not mean a lot to some people, but to me, that when I started Unashamed, that was what I was doing for one person. For one person to feel like they were not alone in this world. And
I remember when you asked me about it, right when you were about to start it, you were like, man, I want you to check this out. You know, this. What do you think if I did a podcast? I was like, shoot, man, go for it. You were like, but of course I gave you your usual slack that I have to give you first. And then I was supportive about it. But then you were like, well, yeah, I got a couple of episodes in my back pocket and I don't know what to do with them. I was like, man, put them out there.
I was so afraid of putting those episodes out there. 'Cause I thought they had to be perfect for me to put them out there. And then I thought nobody was going to relate to them and nobody was going to connect with them. And now, for a while, for many, many episodes, it felt like I was talking to nobody. And we're just sitting here talking. So, I mean, you really do kind of feel like you're just talking to yourself. But nobody was connecting with the show. Like, nobody was responding to social media or anything. And so I was like, man. And then season 1, we didn't hardly get any feedback. We got a little bit, but man.
Right.
Season 2. Y'all have spoken, and we have heard you, and we appreciate y'all as more than y'all ever know. Y'all are the reason why we do this each month. Do y'all think I want to sit here next to this guy just because I want to? No.
The answer is yes.
It's because of
the answer is yes.
And so, but moving on, what's some other memorable moments from this season for you, Drew?
So this is going to step outside of us being in the podcast itself, but going places and then people being like, "Go to the podcast, guys. Y'all are those dudes." I was like,
"That's happened a time or two."
Yeah, and I was like, "Wait a minute."
Yeah. So if you don't know, me and Drew are very fortunate enough to where we are able to go and share our stories with Celebrate Recovery groups, just regular recovery groups, any churches, whoever will have us to come share our story, we'll go and share. And there's been many a times where we have gotten that and somebody be like, I know you. I'm like, I'm 200 miles away from my house. I do not know you. And they're like, Yeah, you're that podcast guy. It blows my mind every time.
Yep. But another significant thing that really stands out to me is the fact that not just the support, but people that are actually changing their lives due to it, that are actually listening to episodes and applying what they hear. That's a big thing for me, because that's what it's about. It's about getting people to change their minds.
Yeah.
To change their perspective on what addiction is or what people telling their stories are. If we're breaking the stigma, I think we're starting to do that. I think that really resonated this season, because I've had people reach out that you would never think, which everybody has the capacity to change. They have that within them. But those people that, come to me now are some of the people who are just like, man, I listen to your podcast, and dude, how do I get to a point to where I can start changing my life? Like, I hear some of these stories, I hear this, and I hear y'all talk about topics. Man, I want to live that kind of life.
Yeah.
That to me is so special.
Yeah,
and it's humbling.
I love it when somebody will come, they'll message me or they'll see me out somewhere and be like, because of the people that you've had on your show, I have been in recovery for 20 years and I've never told a single person about it. And because of such and such that you had on your show, I've decided to break my anonymity and to share my story with a coworker who is struggling with addiction.
Yeah.
That has happened. I've had a guy, I'm not even going to even say his name or tell what he does, but I've had a guy who has approached me and says, I've been in Alcoholics Anonymous for 25 years. I've never told a single person.
Right.
And because of, I want to say it was, I actually think it was because of Haley's episode, I've decided to break my anonymity and to share my story
with it. Yeah.
I mean, but
that's where the power is, man. That's where the power is in recovery, is giving what you've got to someone else. And it's through your experience.
Yep.
It's through your hope. And it's through the strengths that you found in your recovery.
Yep. Most definitely. Yep.
A lot of people ask how. That's how, by being honest, by being open, and by being willing. Those three things. How? You know what I'm saying? That's how. By sharing these experiences, by sharing these hopes, by sharing these strengths, by coming in and saying, you know what? I've lived in the shadows for too long. You know what I mean? Because in a way, you're still isolating yourself when you do that. And that just, I'm enjoying breaking the isolation, breaking the isolation too. You know what I mean?
Breaking the stigma.
Yeah, because it's something that needs to go away.
Yep.
The stigma of it, at least.
Yeah. So changing gears right quick, I want to change or what we're talking about. I want to talk about another moment of mine that sticks out to me, and that's where Mr. Drew called me the matriarch. So if you didn't catch that,
but he's the mother of the show.
If you didn't catch that one, that was on my episode where I told my story.
You
on
birthed
Mask.
this thing, man.
I gave the reins of my baby to Drew here and trusted him to host my show. And in the first 2 minutes, what does he do? He calls me a matriarch. And if you haven't seen that, stop, pause, go find that episode. I believe it was episode number 3, number 4.
I think it was 5.
No, because we had Shauna, then your two-parter that you took forever on.
That's right.
And then it was me.
5.
Shauna, you, and me. That's 4.
I think we put something else in there too, though.
No. So anyway, episode number 3, because we counted yours as a two-parter. Go watch that one. It ain't going to take no time because it's in the first 5 minutes. And this man insults me on my own show. And I still let you co-host with me.
It's only because I love you, Josh.
But I even gave him the opportunity to correct himself. He's like, no, matriarch.
I stuck with it.
He owned it. And so...
Hold on, how's the saying go? Got to stick with it, my boy.
You definitely did. You owned it, boy. But
did you not give birth to this show? Did you not? Did it not come from your womb?
I reckon so. But and we could sit here for another hour going over things from this past season. We could talk about, how we grew so many listeners, and we can talk about how we were been able to go and speak to groups because of this podcast.
Yeah.
And we can talk about how our Facebook page got over 1,000 followers, and we can talk about all kinds of stuff. But the main thing is we are growing, and that's because of y'all, our listeners. And we just, once again, we want to thank y'all. We cannot wait to see what happens in season 3. Y'all are building such a great community, and it is overflowing, and I hope it flows into season 3.
Wait. There's another season?
Yeah, there is another season.
Another?
And a matter of fact, I can't wait for you to. Did you see my little evil little? I can't wait for you to see season 3, episode 1. We've already recorded it. How about that? We are on top of our game. Whoever said that we weren't
Proactive?
Overachievers?
It might be our IT guy because he kind of gives us crap all the time.
But we've already recorded season 3, episode 1, and guys, I can't wait for you to see it.
I'm excited about it. Definitely.
We'll be releasing more about that later and closer time it gets for that. But yeah, season 3, it's going to be premiering in November, so just a couple months away. Man, I can't wait. And I wanted to share with y'all as we close a few things that we're working for season 3. We're talking about maybe the possibility of more episodes. Right now we're doing 1 episode a month. We may start doing multiple episodes, doing somebody's story and then a topic, kind of giving you a little double there. We're going to be doubling down on more stuff that you're going to be getting from our social media, putting out more of that recovery content that's going to help you stay sober throughout the day. Drew, what's some more stuff that you're wanting to get done in season 3?
Start talking about more of the issues that, I think are kind of ghosted, so to speak, when it comes to recovery. To really start digging in and and start teaching people a little bit more about how to reach out to those people who are in addiction. Obviously, you can't make somebody change their mind, but, if by being directed in some shape, form, I think we can get proactive against some of the things that, people feeling isolated, people feeling like they're being left out. Or I know a lot of times that, we talk about the experiences, but, some of the things that I think we miss sometimes are issues. I think we could start talking about some of those too.
We know a lot of people resonate with Jeff's episode with pride because that's such a huge part that everybody in recovery deals with is their pride, and that's just something that's not talked about. And so, topics like that,
I think we'll start. I think we're at that point now where we can start digging. We already unpack. Now it's time to start digging.
Most definitely.
You know what I mean?
Most definitely.
Yeah.
And some more stuff that we're wanting to get done in season 3. We're wanting to hopefully be able to go and do more live speaking events. We're wanting to spread that out. We're wanting to get a website up. We're wanting to start sponsor. We want to at least sponsor one person into a recovery program, or rehabilitation program, a sober living house. We would love to sponsor one person. I think we have a goal. We would like to get 5 people, I believe, for this upcoming season. We want to do all that. We want to be able to do more recovery content, more videos, have more of a social media presence. What was some other stuff that we were talking about? We were talking about all kinds of stuff out there. I can't remember now.
Actually, having a a spot or a place for people to come in, and we can actually have group sessions or something like that. I think we talked about that a little bit. You know, because obviously this is great, but you know, sometimes people want to hear it in person. You know what I mean?
Most definitely.
And it'd still be the Unashamed. It would just be outside of the microphone and everything else. But
and you know, on top of all that, you know, we're wanting to bring in some more sponsors to to bring, you know, we don't just bring in anybody as a sponsor. You know, we bring in people that, you know, are going to contribute to our listeners, and our listeners, they are people inside the recovery community. So we're going to bring in sponsors that are going to contribute to you, and you know,
and the value and belief of Unashamed.
That's exactly right.
That's a big
and
part
so
of it.
you know, we're going to be trying to bring in more of those this season, and we're going to be trying to bring in some Unashamed recovery merchandise. That's
T-shirts.
right. Drew's sporting one. I'm sporting one. We've had these couple of T-shirts for a while, but everybody's like, I want some of those T-shirts. And they're like, how can I support what y'all are doing? I'm like, well, you can help donate, or you can buy some merchandise. That's what, guys, everything that we're wanting to do, unfortunately, the world that we live in, it costs money. And your support, whether it be through prayer or a monetary support, helps us to achieve all these goals that we're wanting to get done.
Yeah.
And so we appreciate you, our listeners and our audience, and everybody who has prayed and who has given to the Unashamed Recovery ministry over this last year. But that is how you can contribute, is by doing those things. And as we go into season 3, we're going to need both of those, your prayers and any type of financial contribution that you can give, whether it be through just a donation or if you want to go and purchase some merchandise. And we're going to put the link for the merchandise in the description for the video and for the audio. Right now, there's 2 T-shirts available. We don't have much of an option, but hopefully over time we're going to be adding some more T-shirts, some better designs. Drew, he's about to have a conniption fit because he wants me to mention about hats.
I like my hats, dude. I love hats. Okay, I'm a hat guy.
So anyway,
I don't do the front spike, so I like hats.
Not everybody can pull off the front spike, you know.
Mine's kind of running from my face anyway, so we would.
But anyway, so that's just a little bit of a recap of season 2 and a little bit of a foreshadowing for season 3. And guys, man, I am excited for season 3.
And I'm grateful.
Yes, most definitely.
The gratitude level over here is, y'all have set the bar, man. You know, so thank you guys.
Yep. Thank y'all. Thank you, Drew, for sticking this journey with me. Thank you, Ryan, for everything that you do for the show. Thank you to my beautiful wife, Annabeth, who has supported this from day one. And yeah. And with that, guys, that's all we've got. Hope you've enjoyed this little recap of season 2, and we look forward to seeing y'all in season 3. We love y'all, and remember to be unashamed. Hey, Recovery fam. Thanks for watching another episode of the Unashamed Recovery Podcast. And if today's episode has somehow helped you out, or maybe it's encouraged you to get into recovery, consider subscribing to our channel. Like this video. You can even give us a comment.
Yeah. What? What was I supposed to say?
I like it, social media.
Oh, well, I was getting on there and liking it. See?
Guys, you can find us on all social media at Unashamed Recovery